let's talk about canning jars. Some of you have recently asked me a couple questions about canning jars. It's really hard for us to find canning jars here on the Pacific Northwest, and if we do, there's never the size or the mouth size that we want. So I ordered a case from Azure. Did you know Azure Standard is now making canning jars? Before you get started, yes, they are made from a Taiwanese company in a Chinese manufacturing plant. They are actively moving it to the United States. The reason they are made in a Taiwanese company in a Chinese manufacturing plant is because they could not find anybody in the United States to make them at an available cost to us to their standards. Now, I know Azure Standard and I like their standards, so I bought a case of jars so that we could go through it and see what if their standards match with my standards. I was not going to, I literally did a video on this and I deleted it because I was like, oh no, that's beneath me, I don't want to do it. But you know what, we need to have a conversation. I probably should have posted it and I should have told you. I bought 4 cases of ball canning jars. Notice, half a box, a full box. They did this intentionally because they know we like to stack and they know that they're easier to store. They did this intentionally for the consumer. Okay, so here's what I was going to talk to you about. These are never used canning jars, and the reason they're not used is because they have imperfections in about 60 to 70% of the canning jars. There is something going on with the new canning jars and why I no longer purchase them from Ball. I'm sorry, Ball. I contacted you. We had a conversation. You told me 4 times that I was wrong, that it was the seam. And I sent you photo after photo after photo with my 30 years of experience of canning. I sent you photos telling you that this is not a seam. This is an impact divot and a crack along next to the seam. So let me see if I can actually get it on, because there are 2 seams in jars. Let me see if I can find one. It's only the second jar I picked up. So there is a seam right here, and right next to it is another seam, and I'm not really sure if you can see it, but it kind of curves like this slightly. And if you look right here, right underneath here, you can see a little impact. You can see that right there. It almost like the machinery took the jar a little bit hard and whooshed it through the manufacturing plant, and it has a crack. So it has the normal seam, and then it has another seam right next to it. It's not a seam, it's actually a crack, because with the seam, you can rub your fingernail across it and you just feel like a little seam, right? But with the crack, you can actually hear. You can actually feel it's a crack, right? So this is in 60% to 70% of all the jars I have. Some of them are like really bad. Some of them are not. Like here, this one is. See the little impact part right here? Right there, that little impact part. And then you can see this is a crack, and the seam is right here. Okay, so I don't feel comfortable using these, and I'm out. I got 4 cases. I bought them from Bi-Mart. I put them up on the shelf because I always like to have extras, and I'm out. What am I gonna do? It's been what? You guys saw the last time I bought them when we were putting them in. I paid $19 a case for these. I never used to pay more than $8.99, like never. Okay, thank you. That's new. Now, let's open this together for the first. Before we open them, let's weigh them. Let's see, because you know glass has weight to it. So we're going to turn it on. We're going to put a book on it so that we can raise it up a little bit. We've zeroed it out, so it is 0. You probably want to see this, right? Well, my phone is almost dead. You're just going to have to trust me. So it is zeroed. Let's do the ball. Doing the ball. Let's do poundage. 12 pounds and 3.8 ounces. 12 pounds, 3.8 ounces. Okay, 12 pounds, 3.8. Somebody write that down. Now let's do this one. 13 pounds, 8.5 ounces. That could be the second half of the box. That could be the second half of the box. Now let's open. I'm so glad we have 10 minutes because I can like really totally geek out with you guys a little bit. Dude, I forgot my Azure standard drop. I like felt so bad. I'm like in the middle of canning tomatoes and I get this text message. Okay, they come with superb lids. You can order them with lids or without lids. So if you want to use your own lids, you can order them without and you can save money. If you already have rings, you can leave them out. Gold rings, that's okay. I like silver. I don't know. Maybe because everything is silver in my world. Let's weigh them. Let's just play. I think I might just want to go to grams for this. But the Azure is 1 pound, 0.7 ounces. And this is not even a pound. It's 15.9. You literally can feel the difference. Like, you can feel that, the difference in weight. And it feels sturdier. Does that make sense? Let's feel the inside of the jars and see. I wish I had my calipers. Yeah. It feels thicker, it feels stronger. But that's just, maybe that's just me. Maybe that's me because I don't like ball. I'm sorry. I guess you should know my philosophy when it comes to customer service and products. I always give the company the benefit of the doubt, always. I always call them, I always say, oh, this jar has cracks. 4 of the cases have cracks. All 4 of my cases had these little weird cracks in them. And I contacted the company, not because I wanted anything. I didn't ask for anything. I just wanted to say, hey, there's something wrong with these. You want to check your manufacturing, your system. There's something. They have little impact divots right here. And they have cracks that go all the way down next to the seam. They told me it was the seam. And I didn't know what I was talking about. Literally, they said that. They argued with me. At that point in time, I was just trying to tell them they had a problem because 30 years, I know what I'm talking about, right? So that was the moment that I started looking for another jar. Now that's the way I am with all companies. I always assume that there's an issue that they are not aware of and that they need to be aware of the issue. I never ask for anything. No. So I like this jar. I'm going to start canning in them and we're going to see how they hold up. There you go. So the first review, I love the superb canning lids. They are made in the United States. Now, these are made in a Chinese manufacturing company plant by a Taiwanese company. They are actively working on moving the plant to the United States. This is Azure is an Oregon company, if you don't know. So us here in Oregon are always very familiar with it. They think that could be done within a year. So within the year, hopefully these will be made in America. But until then, I need a source for canning jars. I can no longer trust ball, which really hurts my heart because I have ball dating back to the early 1900s. But I am actively looking for anybody that is selling or giving away or no longer canning and wants their jars to go to a new home. I'm actively asking for jars again on Facebook, and I am purchasing these. Are these cheap? No. Are they worth it? Right now, I will say 100%. But as I use them, I will get back with you and tell you what I think. There you go, my review. Have a great day, you guys. Now you know what I know. They definitely are heavier. So that is my reason of why they're not up to par. Now, PUR, horrible reviews, very thin glass. When I looked at them, most of them were cracked. There are a couple others that I just don't even bother because I always wanted the Kerr and the ball. Now I'm going to do Azure. And nobody paid me to say that. In fact, I had to pay for it out of my own money.